So I spoke about this in relationship to yesterday's class. And so we'll go on to the next verse. All of these things that we mentioned here were mentioned in relationship to the previous class.
Yes, so we should move to the next verse, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, because I covered most of this in the last class.
Okay. And I apologize in advance, Guru Maharaj. Today, in my area, like I think internet connection is very slow. So my laptop is very, very slow. So I might be, my response might be lit on the screen.
Okay, 1 minute. So we have some time today. Okay, well, this place hasn't been cleaned in a long time. So I want to clean all 3 rooms, just sweep and wash. We can do that in the bathroom too. Yeah, so you can decide whenever you want to do it. You don't have to wait till after I finish. Once you can do this room, the bathroom, and that room anytime. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, good. Now, this is a famous verse that's quoted many times. It's in relationship to the previous 2 verses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vipada Santitat
Hari Paul. Hare Krishna.
We can hear you, Satyabhama. I think we lost Guru Maharaj.
Oh, did you? Okay, I thought it's the issue from my side. Okay. Okay, let's just wait for a few seconds, minutes by the time Guru Maharaj joins back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Guru Maharaj is offline. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So I've just spoke to Guru Maharaj, and seems like there is a very bad connection from Guru Maharaj's side. So Shri Devi Mataji is in London, and she will be joining us soon, and she'll be giving the class. I hope that's okay. Oh, Guru Maharaj just joined back. Oh, that's brilliant.
So I can begin, and
Yes, Guru Maharaj, that's fine.
I think Srimati will come on in a minute or so. While we did the verse, I'll just read the translation over again. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again, for seeing you means that we no longer see repeated birth and death. Purport: generally the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive who have performed some pious activities worship or begin to worship the Lord. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusionary energy. So here it's mentioned that there's these four classes of people who generally come to spiritual life: those who are in materially distressed conditions, those who are materially empowered conditions, or those who are looking for material gain, those who are intelligent, who are actually looking for the absolute truth, and those who are curious, what is the nature of spiritual life and what is the nature of God. Others, as it says here, no matter what situation in life they are, if they're not falling into these categories, they're greatly misled by the illusionary energy. And therefore, Prabhupada goes on to say, if there is some calamity, there is no alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. We all know that. Constantly remember the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. So
Hare Krishna, Shri Devi Mataji. Oh, it's not Shri Devi Mataji, Srimati Mataji. Okay,
Hare
sorry.
Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
No, I thought Guru Maharaj actually just he's got internet issues. So Shri Devi Mataji will be joining. I think Guru Maharaj got cut off again.
Oh,
Yes, it's cut off. Yeah, that's fine. He might join back again. So we'll just wait. Maybe I think today is the day for patience. So we can just listen to the kirtan, nice kirtan by Bada Harimal Prabhu. And it's a nice, soft music, and let's see if Guru Maharaj joins back, because it's a very famous verse. It'll be nice to listen again. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Yes. So we were here, Guru Maharaj. Therefore, even though I think you're on mute, Guru Maharaj.
yeah.
therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. One who is taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nations, can achieve as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hoofs of a calf. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with a place where there is danger at every step. This material world is certified by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of a sane person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering from all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization because that is the mission of human life. Spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called faults. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In this same way, the calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional service is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. Om Gyan Timidandasya Yanajana Salakaya Chaksun Nuitamyena Tasmai Shri Guruvena Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Vanchakalpa Thurubhischa Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Queen Kunti is praying like nobody prays. Nobody prays for calamities, but she's praying. Why is she praying for calamities? Because she explains by praying for calamities because I'm in a nice position. I'm surrounded by aristocratic relatives. I have some prestige due to my position as being the aunt of the Supreme Lord. I'm also have wonderful family members, and also there is royalty there. There is wealth. Everything is there. And she's honored. She's asking for something opposite. Something wrong with her? No. Because why is she saying that? Because if we get too comfortable in this material world with all of these gifts that come by way of material energy, then we forget you. It's easy to forget you when we are so-called in a nice position. But when we're in a difficult position, when calamities come, we can immediately remember you and call out to you with sincere feeling. Then, if we do that, then we can see you again and again. And then we no longer have to take birth in this miserable material world, which is simply, as Prabhupada writes, a calamitous situation. Certified by the Bhagavad Gita means that Krishna has given his rubber stamp, his stamp of official approval that this place is simply a place of danger. That's all. Padam padam yavi padam. So she's praying for these things. Why? Because it causes one to call out to Krishna for help, for relief, for shelter, more, not even so much relief, but for shelter. And that shelter means that one is freed from the cycle of birth and death. So whatever it takes, a sincere devotee wants to remember Krishna. The devotee always wants to serve Krishna. A sincere devotee is always looking for opportunities to take shelter of Krishna. So, as Prabhupada said, these calamities are actually good because they help bring one closer to Krishna, which is the goal of life. So we can see by this explanation here how sincere a pure devotee is. They only want Krishna. And whatever it takes to help them to get Krishna, let that happen. Generally, we perform devotional service in order to improve our material life. Prabhupada said very few of us are really interested in the goal of life, to go back home, back to Godhead. We consider this world our playground, and we want to fortify that playground with many toys, and have a nice fence around it so we can be secure in our playground and enjoy the toys that we have been getting, and we are also planning to get more toys. This is, we call this churchianity, or we call it, what is it? It's a form of cheating the soul out of its real treasure. The treasure of love of God is the soul's rightful heir. The soul can only be satisfied with love of God and not any material position, no matter how good and how favorable, how pleasing it might appear, because the devotee knows that the suffering that I undergo is the separation that I have from Krishna. So if calamities can bring me back to Krishna, then my real suffering is gone. The separation from Krishna is gone. I can feel the presence of Krishna. I can take shelter. So a devotee welcomes calamities, but a devotee does not look for calamities. It's not that we try to make our life calamitous. Just being in the material world will automatically bring you calamities. It's just the way it is. If it doesn't come by your own body and mind, which is mostly the time when it does come, it'll come from others. You'll get harassed by government people. You get harassed by the medical society. You get harassed by the economic society that wants to sell you and every kind of junk that they create and take whatever hard-earned money that you have accumulated away so they can become more and more wealthy. So in this material world, people are envious, they're exploitative. So that goes on all the time. And especially in the material world, it's a daily, not a daily affair, it's an hourly affair where everyone is looking to gain in their own area. And if it means pushing someone else down or pushing someone else out, then fine, as long as I can gain. And so this world, and then of course you have pestilence, coronavirus, we have now another one's coming on the stage. Get ready for monkeypox. That's the next one. The medical society is going to introduce that one coming up soon. They're previewing it right now in their own little theaters, and soon they'll release it to you. Monkeypox will be the next fearful situation, which everyone will be forced to acquiesce to all kinds of restrictions because of that. And so this is, and then there's war. We have this major war in the Ukraine. How much it'll spread, we don't know. Some people say it looks like what happened before World War I and World War II, which spreads into a world war. So this might turn into a world war. And it can easily do that because there are so many countries involved in this war. So yeah, this is the way the material world works. And when there's war, there is horror on all levels, a major calamity. So, and of course, there's cold, there's heat. And just like, it's amazing. I just found out about a week ago that there was a hailstorm. Hail, big balls of ice came flying down in Croatia. And the weather was warm, but all of a sudden, everything turned dark and these big balls of hail came down and people had to run for shelter because if you got hit with them, you could actually die. They were denting cars. It just happened all of a sudden out of nowhere, this hailstorm. So I'm just using these examples to show how this material world is so precarious, so uncertain. The calamities come all the time. But for a devotee, the real calamity is to forget Krishna. And the scriptures give us that. Why? Because when we remember Krishna, we are with Krishna. When we are remembering Krishna, we are protected from the calamities of this world. When we're remembering Krishna, there's a sense of happiness that comes with that remembrance. So therefore, a devotee doesn't mind calamities if it brings one closer to Krishna. So Queen Kunti is showing by example how, although a very favorable position in life she has in all regards, and Krishna personally saved her sons in so many ways. And still, she's praying for calamities. She feels, I want more of Krishna. Tatra tatra jagat guru, Purnya Bhavadarshanam. She's then we get darshan of you. Please bring those calamities on. So we don't have to pray for calamities. It's not that this verse recommends you do that. What it means is that these calamities are not something to be seen as inauspicious. They can bring one closer and closer to Krishna. And that is the ideal in devotional service. Now, if we can remember Krishna always by chanting his holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, going to the temple and seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, associating with devotees who are engaged in devotional service, then we can remember Krishna easy. Then it becomes nice. But Krishna sometimes, just to remind us, will send us a calamity just to help us get back to the standard. In other words, to remember him more. That's his mercy. Tatenu kampa shushamikshimanam bujan viva pita vivakam. Ridvava hubir dinanadam ridvava bahubir vidadan namaste jiveti yom mukti padesha dayavak. This verse really illustrates how a devotee accepts difficulties that come by way of the mercy of the Lord, and they thank the Lord, they pray to the Lord. They say, actually, whatever difficulties that I may be experiencing is just a small amount of what I actually deserve in life. I deserve to suffer more. But you, dear Lord, you are so merciful that you're just giving me a small portion of what I deserve. Therefore, I offer my humble obeisances to you, take shelter of you in devotional service. And what is the result? Mukti Padesha Dayavak. So this prayer by Queen Kunti is connected to this verse in the 10th canto spoken by Lord Brahma. when it says that one will go back home, back to Godhead, if one can accept and thank the Lord for the difficulties that come by way of material energy. So it's a very powerful verse. It's a verse that some people we find don't want to read, don't want to hear about, but it's the reality of the material world. And so, but the whole show ends that one becomes closer to Krishna, takes shelter of Krishna, remembers Krishna, can feel the presence of Krishna. And when that intensity of taking shelter develops to a certain point, Krishna appears in the life of the devotee. And the devotee can see Krishna face to face. So, and Krishna is willing to be seen by his devotee who wants nothing but him. So she's showing that, yeah, I don't care about all the nice things that I have in this world. I'm willing to give all that up and accept suffering if I can get shelter at your lotus feet. A very important, very powerful verse. Go back to the purport itself, towards the end of the purport, if you could. Yeah. And Prabhupada also wants to make another point here. He says the actual calamities that we experience are not even real. And he compares them to the calamity one may experience in a dream. In other lectures, Prabhupada has clarified this point. The point is that the soul doesn't belong into the material world, but here we are. So is this material world real? Yes, it is. Does the soul have anything to do with the material world? No. But somehow or other, we're here. And so this suffering and enjoyment, we also include enjoyment, is simply based on the physical or subtle body. And the scriptures give us a clear understanding that the physical and subtle body, which makes up our physical existence, is temporary and has nothing to do with the individual soul. So in that light of that explanation, then we can understand, yes, this material world is like a dream. And Prabhupada clarifies that by saying, what is the difference between a daydream and a night dream? He says the daydream is just longer, that's all. But it's still a dream. Because the understanding is when one reaches the point of pure love of God, one will wake up into the spiritual world and this dreamlike state of material existence will be gone. So we have to act in the dream and make the best out of the dream. And at the same time, understand it's a dream. One doesn't make arrangements to make the dream better. One tries to get out of the dream. Just like if someone were to tell you, well, you, my dear sir, my dear madam, you may have maybe 1 month left in your physical body. So what would you do with that 1 month? You wouldn't start, looking to buy a house or a new car, refurbish the house to make it even better. You would think, oh, I have a month left. What should I do? I should become more Krishna conscious. So you would focus completely on your spiritual life. So we are in that situation. We're in this dream state of existence, And at one point, the whole show can close down, either individually or even on a collective basis. So one should not put their faith in this material energy, and whatever plans we've made to enjoy in this world is just what they are, plans. Therefore, one should accept that plan, which is beneficial, and that is Krishna's plan. What is Krishna's plan? He's trying to bring us back to him in devotional service. So as long as we stay engaged in devotional service and remember Krishna in the activities of devotional service, we are not part of this material world, although we may appear to be within the material world. So Queen Kunti's prayer is really the essence of surrender to the Lord. I only want you, and if I have to accept calamities, then bring them on. Okay, so.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Very nice explanation of the verse. It was really, I think, needed.
Yeah, just call for questions.
Yes, okay. Do you want me to summarize a few points which I think really liked? Okay, no,
I don't think we need to summarize so much.
Okay, that's fine, Guru Maharaj. Thank you. So devotees, if you have any question, comments, realizations, please unmute yourself and ask questions. And please keep your cameras on as well if you can. And if you want, you can type in the chat box and I'll read it for you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So. Devotees can turn on their cameras too. Devananda Pandit, he can tell us all about calamities, right?
Yes, Vrishabh Prabhu.
Usually devotees have a best always to you, Gurudev. Thank you very much for this class. And one thing that really resonated with me, I wanted to maybe if you can elaborate on it. And if I understood you correctly, you said that.
I think Prabhu, you have to be a bit clear. Your voice is not clear.
You hear me now better?
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Okay. And I think that Gurudev, you said that not many of us want to go back to Godhead. You meant many of us devotees, many of us who are practicing Krishna consciousness, even though if we are practicing Krishna consciousness, we are not sincerely wanting to go back. Is this what you meant?
Well, Prabhupada makes that point in the first canto. He says, very few, if any, want to go back to Godhead. We have the tendency that we want to perform devotional service and improve our material conditions simultaneously. If we focus exclusively on devotional service, our material conditions will take care of themselves. They may get better. They may become more difficult. But for a devotee, it doesn't matter. Whatever the devotee has, they want to use in devotional service. So the devotees, if they have wealth, if they have position, if they have abilities, they don't think it's for me so I can gain something in this world. It's meant to be used for Krishna so I can connect with Krishna and serve Krishna by offering these benedictions that Krishna has given me in his service. So generally, the conditioned souls are always looking for a better material situation. And if they see that, they consider that to be the grace of God. The grace of God may come in different ways. Just like sometimes we use this word corona. Corona refers to this virus. But we take the word corona and we use the word, there's a Sanskrit word called karuna. Karuna means compassion. Quite similar. We use the word COVID and we take the word Covida. Covida means intelligence. So these words, although they're English words, they also have a very similar connection to Sanskrit words, which I think gives the whole definition a more clearer understanding that for devotees, this coronavirus has been a great benediction. Why? Because we've been preaching tremendously. Many devotees who are traveling and preaching, got to stay in one place and do more internal work, take care of their health. And it opened up a whole world of preaching through the media, which we are still continuing. So take the calamity and show how it can improve one's devotional service, one's dependent on Krishna. So yes, generally this is the nature of the conditioned souls. They still see that this material energy has something to offer. Now, because we're in family life, it doesn't mean we have to give up our family or give up the relationships that we have in our family. No, what it means is that we have to Krishnaize everything or purify everything. That my family is dedicated to Krishna. My wealth is dedicated to serving Krishna. My time is actually Krishna's time. Then we are free from trying to improve our material situation. How much can you improve it anyway? It's improved a little bit and then it goes down again. So Queen Kunti is giving us an understanding that she has everything material in a very wonderful way, but she doesn't want it. She wants to remember Krishna more, and she's playing for those things that help her to remember Krishna more and more.
Thank you very much. Especially, I really like that you said we think that we have to be Krishna conscious and take care of our material life, and actually, the moment we are really able to do the shift to fully Krishna consciousness, our material life is going to take care of itself. So that's really powerful.
We have to somehow be a little attentive to our material activities, but if we become absorbed in them and forget Krishna, or if we are on the path of using our material activities in order to improve our material conditions, then we're actually acting in such a way as that we're thinking that we are the body, thinking that we are the mind, and thinking that material improvements will give us some satisfaction, some happiness. I think in one verse coming up, it's called, the devotee is akinchana gochara, that there's nothing that the devotee wants materially. She also prays like that.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah, exactly. The moment is ready.
I mean, it takes faith to develop this consciousness that we're speaking about. But that faith is the foundation for our advancement in spiritual life. If we don't have full faith in Krishna, then whatever is lacking in that full faith, we have in something in this world. So we may have 70% faith in Krishna, but that other 30% is somewhere.
Thank you.
And so Krishna allows calamities to fall upon the devotees. Why? Just to remind them that this place is a place of suffering and that your only shelter is my lotus feet.
Yes, thank you, Rishabh Prabhu. Yes, Devananda Prabhu, you can go ahead. You're on mute, Prabhu. And Devananda Prabhu, you're on mute.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the lecture. I have to say that these beautiful prayers of Queen Kunti are not my level at all, because I don't want to welcome calamities in my life. We know, everyone knows the story of Vrinda Devi, who had so much calamities in her life, and she still prayed to Lord Vishnu. Sometimes I think that in women's body we have more calamities than in man's body. Sometimes when my wife wants to curse me, he usually says that I wish you to reborn in a woman's body, that you will see the real calamities. Do we have statistics in which body we have more calamities, in a woman's body or in man's body?
Well, I think it depends on the person. There are men that are suffering tremendously, and there are women that are also suffering tremendously. I don't think you can genderize the suffering. I mean, the women have more of a social burden than men do. But then again, men have a greater responsibility in their role as a man. So if you look at, you can make the comparison and you will find that in some cases, it looks good from a man's side, and in other cases, it looks good from the women's side. Just like women don't have to go to war and die. No, the men are taken against their will and forced to go into the services and fight something that they don't even believe in many times. And many times they lose their life. So you can see, well, that's not good for the man. The women have to bear children. Unless a man really understands, from a woman directly, he will never understand how difficult it is to go through that period of, pregnancy and then delivery. There's a lot of difficulties, physical and also mental. So you can divide it up, but I wouldn't say, you should trade, because I know people who trade genders, They are in a woman's body and they want to become a man, or in a man's body and they want to become a woman. I know people, I know devotees in both categories. In fact, I have one of my disciples. She just recently changed and became a man. Thinking it's better to be a man. And then I met one devotee years ago. He was a Vietnam veteran. He was in the war. After he got out, he became a woman. So I don't think you can really say one is better than the other. I think it's an individual thing based on karma. It's karma that punishes the living entity, not, karma is Krishna's agency to give people the results of their activities. And if people are sinful, they suffer. People are pious, they gain some material benefits. Obviously, those who are weaker might undergo more suffering than those who are stronger, because those who are stronger may be able to have a greater degree of tolerance. So you can search from both sides and you'll see that there's suffering everywhere.
I think that everyone suffers, everyone in the.
When you understand that, then you can start to really make progress in devotional service. That this place is a place of suffering. Dukalayam asasratam, Krishna says. It's temporary and it's miserable. And he says it twice in the Bhagavad Gita in two different places. And Prabhupada says only a fool will think they could be happy in this world. Well, one becomes a devotee and engages in devotional service, then one can be happy. Because devotional service is not part of this world. But if you want happiness free from suffering, susukam kartam avyayam, Brahma Sokyam, that happiness, that is eternal. That is devotional service. So we shouldn't think that, well, do devotees suffer also? It appears that sometimes that the suffering that devotees get is actually benefits, they're beneficial as it brings one closer to Krishna. She's praying like that. Material people suffer because they center their life around the body and the mind. Devotees don't suffer because they center their life around Krishna and devotional service. That's the difference. Remember, if you're suffering, that's a state of mind. You can change your suffering by changing your consciousness. That's all you have to do. Change your consciousness, you can get out of your suffering.
Change for what?
Krishna consciousness. You see that when one is Krishna conscious, they see the same situation differently than the materialist. Materialists, their world centers around avoiding suffering and increasing pleasure. The devotee's world centers around thinking of Krishna, serving Krishna, chanting Krishna's name, associating with Krishna, performing activities in devotional service. Devotees are not worried about happiness and distress. Devotees are simply want to serve. That's all. Satyabhama.
Getting everyone used to it. Thank you. I think it answers Devananda Prabhu answer question. Raj Prabhu, you can go next.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all of the devotees. Maharaj, Queen Kunti has such a elevated prayer, considering her, which matches her standing as a devotee. I remember you told us about another prayer, not by Queen Kunti, just a general prayer a few weeks ago, maybe last month. And you mentioned, I don't remember the exact words, but it was something like asking the Lord, please remove all barriers and obstacles to enable me to fully surrender at your lotus feet and advance in Krishna consciousness. And I was wondering, it seems to me like these different prayers, because you have to be careful what you ask for, because if we were to ask for more calamities, we may not be able to cope with them because we may not be so able and elevated. So they're different prayers depending on where you are at. And how do you know what to pray for?
Well, I think Prabhupada gave us the formula. He said, I only asked one question to my spiritual master. How can I serve you? That's the best prayer. How can I serve? And from there, everything comes. What else can you pray for? You can pray for the facilities you need in order to execute your devotional service. But everything centers around service to Krishna, service to Krishna's representative, the spiritual master. The activities of devotional service are meant to bring us closer to Krishna. The activity may sometimes be nice or sometimes may be difficult. But it's the activity itself that we are concerned with and not specifically what's happening. And Prabhupada says, in the winter time, it's in January, very cold, but still you have to take your bath. In the summertime, in the kitchen, you're cooking, this heat is unbearable, still the cooking must go on. Service. and depending on Krishna. If you forget Krishna, then you're in a position where anything could happen at any time. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raj Prabhu. Any other questions, devotees? Yes, Namrata Mataji, go ahead.
Hey Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Shri Guru God. Am I audible, Mataji?
Yes, you can go a little louder, Mataji, just a little louder.
Okay. Maharaj, I don't have a question though, but just a small realization and clarification from what I'm understanding, that calamities will always be there. One should have acceptance, one should have acceptance only to turn out our calamity into an opportunity to serve Krishna. So basically, how I am understanding Queen Kunti's prayers as maybe it also measures our faith and fear.
Yeah. We're not asking people to pray like Queen Kunti. That's quite elevated. But Prabhupada's giving the purport for us to understand that you will experience calamities. That's just the way the world is. So if you see them as opportunities to take greater shelter of Krishna, then those calamities are not calamities. It's all about taking shelter of Krishna. So if you want to pray like Queen Kunti, then be ready. And if you can do that, you could probably go back home, back to Godhead. But then you also have to be expert at taking shelter of Krishna.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Maharaj, just a follow-up. There are many elevated personalities, especially the acharyas, who had many qualities which we are said that we should not imitate that. So is Queen Kunti's prayers one of them, or we are recommended to pray how she is doing it?
I think I just said that. I said it about 4 times this time. I said, it's not generally something that we do, nor is it recommended that you pray like that. It's not recommended. But if you're on that level and you want to pray like that, and you understand the depth of the nature of that prayer, then you might think, oh, here's a way that I can actually accelerate my devotional life. But you have to be ready. I mean, if you're not ready, when the calamities comes and you start running in different directions, then what are you going to do? So we can see, how do we deal with calamities now? The calamities that come upon us in our present situation, or what has come upon us in our past? How did we process that? How did we deal with it? Did we run to Krishna, or did we run to some temporary material solution?
Okay.
I mean, if it's cold out and you think, well, it's cold and that's a calamity, I shouldn't try to deal with the calamity. Therefore, I'm just going to wear my short sleeve shirt today with no cover. That's foolish. That's foolish. You take precautions, but you have to understand that these calamities are simply designed because we are in this material world. It's just the way it is. Prabhupada said, if you want an ideal position, ideal situation, go back to Godhead. You can't find it here. Now, you may be happy in devotional service, and that's nice. That means you're experiencing the mercy of Krishna, and you're practicing devotional service nicely. That means you're not in material consciousness. That's what we want. We want to be fixed on Krishna, that when calamities come, we don't even notice them because we're already fixed on Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Namrata Mataji. So, thank you, Namrata
Okay.
Mataji. Yeah, we can.
Thank you.
So it's almost past an hour, Guru Maharaj. So we can close the call now. I just want to, announce to devotees that tomorrow Guru Maharaj will be giving class to the Harrisburg devotees. And the verse is Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 11th chapter and 15th verse. And this is all, unless if there is anything else, Guru Maharaj. To announce, Srimati Mataji, if there is anything, I guess.
No, Mataji, that's all. Thank you so much.
That's all. Thank you. Yeah. So I can close the call, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna,
Thank
Guru
you.
Maharaj, for my
Hare
humble
Krishna,
visit.
Guru Maharaj.
Go.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Haribo, Prema, Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
I'm seeing Prema, I'm seeing Nandini Radha. I think she's driving around your house. I'm not sure.
You're on mute, Mataji. Nandini
Sorry,
Mataji.
Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I'm at work.
I see Swaha. Devananda Pandit always has a nice background to his video. Very scenic trees and greenery. Srimati is enjoying